Today we're out at the farm. We're doing some summer preparation and scouting. We're going to be discussing tips and tactics to hang in trail cameras, what to look for, and also stand placement, and then talk about how we used last year's intel for this upcoming season. Mostly I'm starting to scout and look for places that I knew last year were really hot. Like start running cameras around July, August. Typically bucks, they're going to change their home range as soon as they shed the velvet. They're going to summer somewhere different than where their fall range is, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to slip through your property a handful of times during August and September. So that's why I get cameras up now, and we'll start looking for some targets, and hopefully some new faces show up. Guys, we're walking up to our first camera setup now. Just got this spy point here all set up. So that's an ag field there. That's a primary food source. There's a big bedding area back in there. And this year we're going to be mowing all this. We're going to be planting a fall annual crop in here. We're super excited to get this food plot established. And so what we're doing right now is we're getting a field edge camera set up. This is going to tell us kind of what's in the area during the summer. That way during like the first couple weeks of October, if they haven't quite shifted from their summer range to their fall range, hopefully we'll have an opportunity in here. And as season progresses, we'll be getting deer that we were after last season, and probably a lot of new deer too. This will be a good spot during the rut. Even late season, if we can get enough food in here, it's about 2 acres. So if we get enough food in here, I think this is going to be good late season too. So whenever I'm scouting during the summer, mostly what I'm doing is putting cameras up based off of fall scouting from last season. And I'm going to known areas where I know bucks are going to be cruising. Some mature bucks, even if they're in a summer range somewhere far away, they'll end up coming through maybe a handful of times in late August, September. And that's just telling me they're in the area still and that I have an opportunity at them. And they're probably likely going to come in those areas during the fall. They're already coming through and showing that they're still using these areas. A lot of times what happens is your fall properties are too thick for them to crash their velvet in, so they end up moving somewhere that's more open hardwoods, maybe a field edge. If you're in ag country like we are, they're just sitting in the corn or the beans. Once the corn and soy is being harvested, leaves are defoliating, they've already shed their velvet, now they're going to be looking for those thick fall properties. So honestly, if you're seeing a lot of big bucks in the summer, that doesn't necessarily relate to fall patterns. And you can get pretty hyped up on, seeing some mature bucks early. And then by the time season comes around, you're like, where the heck did they go? And I know for years that happened to me. And then as I learned and I studied and I figured out that these deer were shifting maybe a mile, 2-3 miles away, I started focusing more on what I was seeing during the season. Maybe October, November, even December, January, depending on what kind of farm you have. And then I would make note of that. And then when I come in the summer, I'm hanging trail cameras in all those areas based off of last year's intel. That is the best way to scout during the summer. Don't worry too much about what's going on right now in the woods. Focus mostly on what's going to be coming. All right, guys, now we moved a little bit closer to the interior of the property. This here's a primary scrape. I made this the first year we bought this property. It's a great area to run trail cameras all year long. It doesn't really matter if it's summertime, fall, heat of the rut. Bucks, does, and fawns consistently hit these areas over and over throughout the whole year. It's a great spot to pick up on some of your target bucks like early August, early September as they're starting to transition. And as they're moving through the area, they just consistently go to these spots. Anytime I'm hanging up a mock scrape, or I'm using a pre-existing one that I'm just freshening up with, like adding a licking vine to it, I like to make sure that I can hang a deer stand over it or it's close to a deer stand. This one is on a main trail. This is a highway through here, and I got a box blind overlooking a food source probably about 20 yards from where we're standing. So this is a great one to hang a camera over, and that way during season, if I use a cell camera while I'm sitting in that box blind, buck comes through here scent checking for does or just to hit this, I'll get a photo sent to my phone. I'll know to get ready. So it works out really great doing it that way. So guys, we talked about field edges, good spot to look for velvet bucks. primary scrapes, one of my favorite spots to find out if a buck is consistently coming to your area over and over throughout the season, year to year. These are great. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get this cell cam put up here. We'll show you our setup, and then we're going to move on to another food source. Guys, another tip when hanging trail cameras, what I like to do is I like to get them up high. I want to get them out of the visual of any whitetail coming through this area. I also put this camera on a bend when deer are coming through here. They're kind of focusing on what's ahead around the corner, and it takes the focus off of this tree. This tree is one I've been using year after year for trail cameras. I'll put a cell cam up on this one, and then somewhere down there a little ways I'll probably set another trail camera, a blackout one, up on video mode. That way at the end of season I can go in and get a better idea of what the deer was doing as it was coming through here. So we like to use these lone wolf climbing sticks to get our cameras up. We'll go ahead and get this cell cam up and going and move on to the next spot. One nice thing about using these cell cameras when you get to more of the interior spots on your farm is you can set these up, let them run, and I don't have to come in here and check them. Like I said, I will put a blackout camera up, but I probably won't even come in here during season to check that one unless I'm already heading to another stand and I'm going to be passing that. This trail here we don't walk across is a main highway. We do have a trail a little ways down this ridge here that's easy access to get up on this oak ridge. So we'll probably just wait to check that camera, but we'll have this one eyes in the sky all season for us. Last tip for this is either bug spray or permethrin. If you use permethrin, it's going to last a lot longer, so I recommend anytime you're hanging trail cameras up in the summer that get buggy, lots of ants, spiders, go ahead and probably once every maybe 3-4 weeks come out and just spray the bottom of your strap above your trail camera. Just spray around the tree. You don't have to spray your camera, but just spray around it, and that'll help with insects. There you go, we're done with this one. Go ahead and we'll set that blackout up over in that corner and we'll move on to the next location. Oh man, it's getting toasty out. We moved up the ridge, guys. We're heading in our new food plot that we're working on. We just opened all this up, got full sun up here. We're expanding it still. We got a lot of trees to cut, but we're gonna move up to this spot, get another cell cam running. Since we have full sun here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set one of our solar panel cell cameras up, and this spot is gonna be amazing. This is a little bit on the intrusive side, but really good access for northwest winds. This is a definite late October, early November spot, and has traditionally done really good. And I shot my largest buck not too far from this ridge here, and it's been pretty consistent each season. So we're gonna go ahead, we'll get another trail camera put up here. Like I said, we're looking for spots where traditionally we're seeing good fall sign, scrapes, rubs, cruising, sightings, harvests. Just focus more on last year's intel. You'll find old rubs when scouting new areas. I'm looking for like a year-old rub, something that probably was during last fall. Because if you're finding areas with lots and lots of rubs, that's a spot I'm going to key in on. Today we're going to finish up these last few cameras, and then we got a couple food plots to spray off. So guys, hopefully this was helpful for you if you're doing summer scouting right now. Use these tips, tactics to help you guys out this upcoming season. Get your cameras up high, use cell cameras, use blackout cameras, focus on primary scrapes, transition routes, good food sources, field edges, and go off of last year's intel, and you'll have a good season. Thanks for tuning in on this week's episode, guys. We'll be back next weekend.